if at all, is the reset and recovery after a game like Saturday, high emotions, very physical, compared to a normal, let's get back to work Sunday, Monday?
I don't think it is.
Not at all?
No. I mean, what you're doing one way or the other, you're going to look at a film and take what you can from that film, but then also follow it immediately up with the next opponent. And it's our approach.
What do you do in practice to try to simulate the frenetic pace that their offense runs at? They get to the line of scrimmage and snap. What do you do tactically to get ready for that?
No, that's a good question because it's true. Just trying to have two huddles that are part of your scout offense. So as soon as one play concludes, immediately that next one's on the ball. And then if we feel like, hey, is it taking a little bit of time to identify formations, then there are times maybe where you have the defense literally turn around, you blow the whistle, and you 1,001, 1,002, and then the offense calls the cadence, just trying to find their guys and hustle to it. And now, does that do it exactly? Does it replicate it? No, but you got to try.
What skill sets does their new quarterback Cooper bring in that is different than Logan Bonner?
Yeah, Jesse, he moves really, really well. Obviously, Bonner is a heck of a player. You look at the season that he had last year and just overall how good they were last year, and he was the driver. And now to bring a guy in also that that moves really well. We liked the kid a lot when we looked at him in high school.
Has he grown significantly? He's kind of the same skill set. I mean, everyone gets better, but that's what we thought that kid could.
We did. I think now you're looking at a kid that was, I think you're in the spring of his junior, so you're looking at junior film, at the time. But he was a really, really talented player in high school.
What about Bo Richter makes him a type of player that he could get up on the front four? He can play the linebacker, yeah, or he can drop back in coverage. I mean, that's a pretty special skill set.
Well, in fact, we got him stretched a little bit. He's behind the plate. He's playing shortstop. He's a relief pitcher. He's down on the low block, working on Kareem's sky hook, and yet still shooting threes out there. And like I said, I think it's one of those. We just got to make sure in a given week that we try to keep him at one spot as best we can, rather than trying to have him learn three different spots. Because there's a wide edge guy, there's a closer to the tackle edge guy, there's an inside backer and a two linebacker look, and there's an inside backer and a middle linebacker look. We just got to make sure we aren't asking him to do all those in a week. But he has good strength, plays blocks well, and as much as we can pare that down, then I think you're better at the details, and maybe more aggressive at the details too. I think back to last week, and he makes a good number of plays. Does he identify that reverse one step sooner, right there late in the second quarter, if we did not have him lined up at other spots? So now the detail, slight shuffle ball way, widen my vision a little bit, because if I do feel a receiver come over the top, I redirect, and that takes time.
I want to ask about Calvin Tyler, number 4, the running back for Utah State. You guys didn't see him in the meeting last year, but had a very productive year, and this year seems to be eclipsing some of his total. And now with a more mobile quarterback, how much more dangerous does that make Utah State's run game to prepare for?
It absolutely does. I think one of the things they do many things incredibly well. There's a reason why they won they were the best team in our league last year, and really, clearly, hands down, were the best team in our league last year. I think especially the way they played in the second half of the season. You go and look about their last 7 games. There are 5 of them where they just overwhelmed the opponent, including in the Mountain West Conference Championship game and in their bowl game too. And it's because of how effectively they spread you out to create a little bit of room, but they also want to push the ball forward. They want to pound the ball forward, in the run game, and he's an excellent back. And what they've been able to do, there are a good number of teams in our league that have done it really, really well, being able to bring additional players in, and they have them at a bunch of spots, And when you go through, I mean, these are big-time players, and you look at it, it's Miami, Texas, Michigan, Washington, and this is a talented player that's got a lot of help around him too.
Y'all's game on the road in Wyoming was not the result y'all wanted. You're on the road again this week. So what is it y'all are really trying to nail down this week headed on the road?
I think it'll be another really good environment, in which to play. I think the other part is, we played there, and what gave us a chance to be competitive in that game, to which you're referring, was we didn't have a lot of penalties. We didn't have a lot of turnovers, and so we were in the mix in it. And, if we can do something this week that's close to that, then we have a chance to be in the mix. Now, you could play really, really well this week, and, golly, it's not always a result that you want just because you're playing against a team that's, again, just so capable talent-wise.
Is there a trickle-down effect with all the injuries you've had, especially at the skill spots? When you talk about the scout teams, are some of those guys being pulled over where they wouldn't have been, and now replicating it is even that much more difficult?
Probably, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's drastically more difficult that way. But I mean, yeah, we have a bunch of moving parts, and yet that's football, though, too. We can't maybe we got a few more than we'd like to have, but I don't think there's anybody that's on October 4th. They don't have the exact same lineup that they had on August 5th, or even on opening day, on September 3rd. I mean, that's it's just the reality of playing football.
Do you see any similarities, not in your style, but in the way both teams are so unique and difficult to prepare for, that maybe builds into your strength? Obviously you talk about you're having defenders turn around and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Other teams are doing crazy things to get ready for the option. Is there some similarity in that respect?
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, you maybe your approach is a little bit different from, when you play your other league games than what you'd see in your other 7 games. Very true. Is that the case? For us, it probably. I mean, I think it'd be yeah, it is too, and I think that's okay. I mean, I think back, when Ben Martin was here, everybody was in the I formation, run the football, and he wanted to throw the ball over the line just because you had to do something that was a little bit different. I know when we felt that way when we were at Wake Forest. You got to do some things that are sound, but are a little different. Just make it a little bit more challenging. Now, it's ultimately it's not scheme. It's how aggressive, it's how well you execute. When it gets down to it, and so that's where we got to be better this week. I think our guys realize that too. I mean, we have to improve this week as a football team, and I think we've had a bunch of weeks over the last few years where we've improved, and it's a must this week.
And do you have to reach a little deeper into your defense because of the number of snaps they'll be playing and the pace they'll be playing? Do you have to maybe get some guys into the mix?
Yeah, you think last year I think we played we played almost, I think it was nearly 94 snaps. It was give or take about 2, depending on what you go by, the film or the official stats that are no plays, and and so your conditioning comes into play. The rapid fire of snaps, having substitutions ready, that is a part of it.
And with Bo Richter, is he one that, had you not had so many capable linebackers, would he have probably played inside linebacker throughout his career, or is he a skill set where you might have looked at him and wanted to?
Obviously linebacker is extremely important too. The thing that he does have, he's got a little edge rush capability. Instead of living in a two inside linebacker mode, would you have done something? We have always adjusted based upon our personnel, and we have defensively, we have offensively too. I think sometimes you can say, nah, it doesn't look like. No, we got guys moving around all over the place that we have to teach multiple roles. And Cal, would you have found ways in certain weeks to take advantage maybe of that edge rush pass capability, even though you'd say, no, he's an inside linebacker? I think you would have, or I hope we would have.
In that same vein of, playing to your strengths, over the past 4 decades or so, the team has usually been second, third, fourth in the nation in rushing. And now for 3 years in a row, it's been number one, and now it's by a huge margin. Why that difference from being really good at rushing to being clearly the most effective?
I think a little bit of his, I don't want to say it's luck. It might be how a season unfolds, who you collide against and what their philosophies are. It might be your personnel. The years when you had, you think about we had Chad Hall and he caught 50 balls one year, and we were more in the I formation just because we felt like, all right, here's a guy that maybe can rush for 1,400 yards and dead. The years where you had Jalen in terms of the number of, the involvement on a bunch of downfield throws, and maybe the strength of, when it was Cale and Nate Romine, they fling the ball a long ways. I mean, there were a lot of factors. I think up front, certain things that you would do with your pass protections, that was a factor. You just always try to craft a way you think your strengths are, in addition to matchups too. So I don't. That's not intentional. We don't set that as a goal. I mean, would we like to throw it efficiently? We would. Would we like to run it fairly well? We would. We would like to hold on to it. We got to be better that way too, in terms of being strong carrying it too.
Well, with Hazik, being the quarterback during this time I'm talking about, is there something about him as a facilitator of the option, not to mention a runner, that has caused you to play to that strength a little bit?
Yeah, he is very, very adept in that regard. And, I think, just as far as a ball handler, I'm trying to go through and he's, being able to take a ball from center and make so many instant decisions. We talk about that, and that's what it is. It's talk. To get to a point where a guy can do that well, I mean, you're trying to pinpoint a fastball low and in, but maybe catch a corner, or you're trying to throw a curveball that's, something that catches the outside edge. I mean, you watch the TV, and that's, you can do that. You should be able to do that. Should and doing it are two different things.
Is it difficult to shift your attention early in the week to Utah State after, such an emotional win for you guys against Navy?
No, so I believe after each and every dub, we try to take that night to really celebrate it. But once we start that week on Monday, really Sunday, doing rehab, we're already tapped in, ready to go for our next game. And I don't know what kind of goals you set for yourself on a personal level, but how would you assess the way that you have played so far? You have the highest yards per carry average in the Mountain West. According to my goals, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. I'm never satisfied. I feel like I could do a little bit more. I feel like this last game I left a little bit out there on the field. But going forward, you can only get better. So.
And how do you and Brad kind of feed off of each other? I know that, he's on the field most plays and blocking and stuff as you're getting out on the edge, but as you guys play together a little bit more, how do you feed off of each other in the run game?
It's really, we try to have like a little competition between each other. Going out there, we know that teams are going to try to stop at least one of us, so when that happens, the other, pushes through and tries to do the best that we can for our team.
And when you look at Utah State, since you guys are shifting your focus there, what do you see from them? What have you heard about them so far? I know it's still early in the week, but what kind of challenge do you guys have in front of you this week?
Utah State is a pretty good team. Last year we lost to them, but I feel like this year is going to be a little bit different. We've been working on a lot of new things, and we plan on going out there and showing that this week.
How critical is ball control going to be this week? Not maintaining possession, but just long drives, eating clock against a team that wants to run so quickly on their side?
I definitely feel like our biggest goal every game is to have the ball on our end of the offensive side, or the long. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Could you ask that again?
Yeah, just maintaining ball control. Eating clock.
Yeah.
This week, because Utah State runs so quickly on their side, runs so many plays, like just to help your defense, how important is it to chew a lot?
Okay, yeah. Really to help our defense out, because this past game against Navy was really a defensive game. So switching it up this week, I feel like it's good. We're really going to major on controlling the ball in our hands so that we can give our defense a break.
And since you've been here, the last 3 years, Air Force had the #1 rushing offense in the nation. It wasn't always like that. You guys have always run a lot, but not quite to this level. Like, do you see anything that has made you guys so effective running, even compared to past Air Force teams?
I feel like our biggest focus this year is just making sure everyone that our coaches put out there is really prepared. We practice plays numerous amounts of time. So I feel like our working on perfection during practice has allowed us to go out there and really just play loose and play like every game is like a practice.
And I'm sure part of you would like to have had more carries, but as you've seen all the injuries around you, is part of you thankful that you're a little bit fresh at this point in the season when you guys are a little bit banged up at that position?
Yes, sir. I feel like everyone plays a big role in our offense. Obviously, I try to go out there and give my best to the team every week. I try to make sure that I get those first downs so that we can keep going, so that Brad and Zeke and everybody on our offense can do their thing. But yeah, I feel great. Not having so many carries has allowed me to feel really, really healthy going into week 5.
And is there anything that Brad has taught you in terms of maintaining, being durable, being available, and staying healthy?
Yeah, we talk a lot about falling forward as a back. The key to that is really just attacking the defender's weak shoulder, and always, of course, having 2 hands on the ball. So as long as you maintain great ball security, and when you come face to face with the defender and you attack his weak shoulder, it's going to be easy for you to fall forward.
And I realize you didn't play a lot at this point last year when you played Utah State, but you were on the team. You were around the vibe and everything. Like, how much did that loss hurt, especially as the season went on and you saw how much that loss really hurt, in terms of standings? And how nice will it be to have a chance to avenge that?
That loss was pretty detrimental. I feel like we worked so hard during the week to try to perfect everything that we go out there and do. So going out there and having a few shortcomings definitely hurt. But this year I feel like we're definitely going to be a lot more prepared going into this game.
You a Chiefs fan?
Yes, sir.
What's it like to watch that offense and then play in an offense that's so completely different?
It's just amazing, the stuff that they go out there and do. Their offensive coordinator is super intelligent. The way they just put things together to catch other teams and their defensive slipping it's crazy. But I could only hope to get there. So,
Is there a position that you still want to play? Because I feel like you've got about 20 of the 22 positions already play.
I just like it's nice because played a lot of inside linebacker last year and playing a lot more outside, a little bit of defensive end earlier this season, and I love it. Just for me as a player to be able to just get a more complete understanding of what's going on in our defense. I think it's helped me a lot, not just in the position I'm playing every week, but just understanding everything. And I mean, if I ever have to go back to inside backer, where you tell everybody what to do, get everybody in the right spot. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's everything's easier if you know more of the defense. So I think it's helped me a lot.
Well, but that also takes you understanding a bunch of different roles, right? Like you're getting that bigger picture and it's helping you learn, but it kind of plays into one another, right? You got to be able to know what you're supposed to do at a certain position, and then so you could be trusted to be in that position, right? And then that's where you gain the bigger knowledge of the defense, right?
Yeah, I think definitely. It's just, as a defensive player, it makes your job a lot easier knowing somebody else's job. So I know I have a lot of confidence in our coaching staff, and they trust me to, just because I've been so many places, they trust me, and at any given week they feel like they can put me somewhere new and I can pick it up. So that trust and my ability to have that knowledge has helped me a lot, I think.
And I know your schedule on a daily basis is pretty set, but do you try to sneak in a few extra minutes of rest, knowing that you might be on the field a lot and going up against that defense or that offense of Utah State? They like to go quickly. Do you do anything different in your preparation?
Not really physically. I try to get down here as early as I can every day. You know, our schedule up on the hill is different every day. So some days I can get down here 2 hours early. Some days I can get down here 15 minutes early. So I try to really, for me, it's mostly mental preparation. I feel like we do a really good job here of staying physically prepared for the game. So I don't really feel like I have to do anything differently to prepare for the game physically.
And they have recently, Utah State has gone back to Lega now with the injury to Bonner, and he has more of an ability to run with the football. How much does that change the preparation for Utah State, knowing that their quarterback has that added skill set of being able to run?
I mean, I feel like it might change our play calling up a little bit, but I think generally, I mean, we're always prepared for a QB who can scramble. Our defensive line, I think, does a really good job of getting pressure, but also, you know, the ability to have some guys come out of coverage and stop him scrambling. So I think preparation-wise, it doesn't change a ton. I think we're always pretty prepared for that because anything can happen during the game.
What was the timeline on learning kind of your defensive position? Like, obviously, you were an inside linebacker last year. When did they tell you you might add to that?
Yeah, so I knew, I think the last 4 practices of spring ball this year, I played some outside linebacker, and it was mostly option preparation. And I think the key to that decision was just we want a big box every time we play a service academy. So having a bigger outside linebacker body and moving Vince over to spur to the other outside backer position and have a big box who can fit the run really well. That was the original thought process, and then as it progressed, just kind of attacking the passer. And as the weeks developed, I went into week 1 at inside linebacker with a little bit of like third down pass rush capability in our game plan, and then it kind of just went from there. We have really great depth at all our positions, but inside backer is one that, you know, everybody in that room can play really well. So they felt like they could utilize me more as an edge rusher and a run stopper on the edge. So that's kind of how it's developed through the season, and that's where our focus is right now.
So coming out of spring ball, you kind of dabbled in it, but you still consider yourself an inside backer?
Yeah, so I was listed as an inside backer, and coming into week 1, I was with the inside linebacker group in those meetings and all that every day, and then it changed. Week 2 is when we finally pulled the trigger, and I was in the edge room, and I've been there since.
Would you have done anything different with your body had you known this, or is it all kind of the same?
I don't know. You know, who knows what will happen next year, but I just try to come into the season big and fast because every year you lose a couple pounds every week. You can't lift as much as you do in the off season, but I've been able to keep weight on, and I feel like I've maintained a really good balance of speed and weight at this point, and I feel like I've never really come across a tackle that's really just kind of physically giving me the business. So as of right now, I feel pretty good about where I'm at.
And what did you do over the off season? Because I mean, from what little I saw of you last year to now, there was a transformation. Like how did you attack it?
Yeah, so I did. I think the biggest transformation I went through was actually when we went home during the COVID season, and me and a couple other guys took the semester off, and I put on some weight there. I got up to 250 pounds in the off season and slimmed down. Thankfully, I don't think I was carrying that weight super well. And then this off season, just trying to stay lean and stay strong. So I came into this season pretty similar in weight, maybe a couple pounds heavier, but a lot leaner than last season. And just, you know, working really hard in the weight room and making sure I'm getting my speed work in and not just putting on muscle mass. So I think it's been good, and, you know, our staff does a really good job of keeping us in really good shape.
Was it a different type of program, or was it just doing the same?
No, I just did some stuff on my own, some stuff with the team, and just did as much as I could with the time I had. I ran a lot of hills, tried to stay fast that way, and I think that kept me pretty lean. And I focused pretty heavily on my diet this off season. Me and some of the other players were meal prepping every Sunday. We would cook vegetables and a bunch of chicken and stuff like that, and we would eat the meals down here and then go back up and get an extra one. So just, you know, put the right stuff in, get the right stuff out.
Okay, yeah. Someone else told me about that, the meal prep. Did you guys do that together? Is there like a kitchen where you work together?
No, so the sponsor families, we go out, and every cadet has a sponsor family available to them, so they can go spend some time on the weekends. And one of our outside linebackers, Jace Waters. We go over to his sponsor family and we cook and stuff with them on Sundays and during the off season.
Okay. And when you first decided to come to Air Force, what were some of the other options you were weighing?
Just like other schools.
Yeah.
I was looking a lot at the Ivy Leagues. And the Patriot League schools. I had some interest from Northwestern. I had a PWO there, and I was one off their scholarship board, I think. And I was considering them. And my biggest things when I was looking at schools was how can I balance the best football and the best academic opportunities I had. And once I got this offer, I pulled the trigger. I think within a week. And it was just a pretty easy decision for me. It's a world-class education, playing world-class football, and don't regret it.
And what's your major, or what do you want to do long term?
I'm in business management right now, and I got the financial manager AFSC. So, just try to stay in business.